Welcome to the Defense and Aerospace Report. I'm Vago Muradian here at the Gaylord National Harbor Convention Center right outside Washington, D.C., where we're covering the Air Force Association's annual Airspace and Cyber Conference and Trade Show. Our coverage here is sponsored by L3 Technologies and Leonardo DRS. And we've got with us Ray Duquette, who is the President and General Manager of CAE USA, part of the global training company headquartered in Canada. Ray, thanks very much for your time.
Sure, thank you.
Where I want to start off is, the training business is changing so dramatically. Virtual reality, whole bunch of new players who are coming in. You're one of the most established players in this business, working across the piece, whether it's on the commercial side or the defense side. Talk to us a little bit about what are some of the things you guys are doing to be successful in this competitive space, especially when you have a whole bunch of new small companies that are each taking a mouthful of the pie, and eventually there's less pie left for everybody.
That's correct. Mostly CAE USA is a training company. That's our only focus. Most of the technology we're adopting is in the area of being a total training system integrator. So we leverage the industry, we leverage the technologies, we integrate that into solutions for our warfighters. Some of the most advanced technologies we're adopting are in a couple areas. One would be in establishing a complete training solution that adapts the learning to the students, meaning we're collecting data, the performance of the student, whether in the airplane, in the simulator, in academics, and then we're taking that data, analyzing the data, and then adapting the training for the student.
So it's a truly interactive process as opposed to being, and that people are learning at their own rate and ability.
In the past, most training is I'll call very standardized. So they start a class, they start a flight, they do just as many flights or just as many simulator events as any other student. But we found that's not effective. Some students advance quicker than others, some are quite slower than others. So what we do is we adapt the technology using the data we collect from their performance. From that performance data, we can adapt the training to their needs.
When you look at the training environment, budgetary pressures are very, very significant. Yes. There are pilots who are leaving the force because they're not getting enough flying time. But if you go and you look at the civilian model, you will go through an entire flight curriculum, which you guys might run for one of the major airlines, and that pilot candidate has actually never flown a real airplane until they report on the flight deck. They are mentored by high-time pilots until they can stand on their own. Talk to us about what are some of the commercial lessons that military customers can learn to try to not only save money, but actually improve the quality of training they may be getting. Because given the military has a certain way of looking at it, are there different ways of looking at it to actually get to the same outcome?
Yeah, that's been adopted for a long time now. I mean, we've been using more virtual simulation, training on the ground before they go in the air. So what you'll see, example would be, we're doing a lot on the C-130J. A number of simulators we deliver. Before they may have 10 simulators, now they have 30 simulators. So they actually do most of the training on the ground in a virtual simulator before they actually get airborne. Another one would be on, we're doing the P-8. The P-8, the P-3 was only 6 simulators. Now they've already bought 20 simulators for even less aircraft. So they're using more virtual simulation to do the training before they actually go into the airplane.
But those tend to be for the bigger airplanes. What about on the smaller airplane side? Do you see some opportunity there?
Yes, we're teamed with Leonardo, basically DRS here for the TX program. We've already delivered solutions to the Italian Air Force, the Singaporean Air Force, Israeli Air Force, and Poland, which has a whole LVC solution, meaning that in the air they can actually use virtual simulation in the cockpit to simulate systems that aren't really actually out there in the real world. Or they can tie into virtual simulators and actually fly together, one on the ground, one in the air. So it actually reduces cost. Instead of having 2 airplanes airborne at the same time. So those are some of the things that we are doing to adopt live virtual constructive, more virtual simulators on the ground to lower the cost to train students.
And talk to us a little bit about what you guys are highlighting here. There's been a very, very busy, very brisk show. Here we are, sort of more than midway past on the last day, and it's still crawling with general officers. Talk to us a little bit about what you guys are highlighting here.
Oh, really, we highlight here our experience. I mean, CAE is known as a training system company, but some people don't realize how much we have done for the U.S. Air Force. So legacy systems all the way back to the C5 trainers we developed. We developed C-130Js, we developed the AWACS simulators, so we've been involved in Air Force simulation for a long time. We're also highlighting our MQ-1, MQ-9 training, so we do all the Predator Reaper flight training for the U.S. Air Force. Those are mainly the highlights. So mostly highlighting our experience so we can leverage toward the new programs coming forward.
And I know you're going to be very guarded about this question when I ask it, so I'll understand that you will be a little bit, what's the next big thing? As you guys, as a training company, have been in this business for more than 7 decades, you look out there, where are the interesting trends that, that you're trying to get to, say, 5, 10 years in the future? How is this game changing, and where are you guys going to be then?
Sure, I mean, it centers around 2 things. I already mentioned one of them, and that is collecting data and to adapt the training to the particular needs of the individual. The second one is use of augmented reality. So we've heard about virtual reality, we heard about live, but what we want to do is provide simulation entities in a live environment. So we already have the capabilities here, live world, but if I can augment that with virtual entities, then I can provide more effective and more realistic training to the warfighters across the board. So you'll see more augmented reality, and applied to the Air Force, that would be probably more in the area of maintenance training. So a student can come up to an airplane and they can actually visualize a panel, a system, and they can see that through augmented reality. It can give them all the information on the maintenance tasks that they need to perform right there on an iSet. And so those are the technologies we're adopting for the Air Force of the future.
Ray, thanks very much. Really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.